Holy shamoli, folks. Nvidia DOJ investigation today took down the whole semiconductor index. There must have been a whisper on this thing that really nailed everything down in the morning. And it was a trend day due to this Nvidia tankola and the investigation that's coming from the DOJ. It's probably more of a nothing burger long term. You know, everybody gets sued by the government at some point if you're a big company. But in the meantime, it did put a lot of pressure on the market. So today's video, let's go into what's happening in the semiconductors and then get into the watch list for tomorrow and just some thoughts, because the market went from breakout to basically breakdown in one day, right? And so we need to kind of plan accordingly and see if today was just a fugazi, a one-off event, or if there was something, you know, to this. So the SOXX Index dropped 8%, its largest drop since March of 2020. And, you know, we're making a little bit of this kind of head and shoulders on some of these things, right? And you're seeing the flushes in MU and stuff like that. And so this is something we're going to have to, you know, really keep into the back of our heads and keep an eye on it. You know, Nvidia did respond to the report on the DOJ sending the subpoena. You know, this is going to be a little bit of back and forth. We see this type of stuff all the time. Once again, look, Google's they've gone after Google. They go after Microsoft for 20 years, right? Every year, they were getting government suing Microsoft for, you know, doing something. Hey, you got to use this browser on Windows. Hey, you got to do, you know, and they're always fighting back and forth. So long term, this is probably a nothing burger. But what can happen is when you have itchy trigger fingers and you get a piece of news like this, it all of the sudden can start the algos going and really keep things fresh. And man, there was a sell program today that literally went the whole day. I mean, you could feel it. It was just a big sell program, and there was no liquidity, no buyers anywhere. We trended literally down the 9 EMA pretty much the whole day. We popped into the 20 for like half a candle. It is a rare occurrence, and that's how you know the algos are just in this thing, right? This is not like a free-flowing thing. They turned the sell program on, and the jets just turn on. Look at this. The biggest bounce we had during the day was like this little thing here, or maybe like this little thing here. Like there was no instance where like you could have got long. Like sure, you see a green candle, but you can't get long those necessarily. So that was just incredible, you know. And so now what we need to do is figure out, is this a one-off thing? Because look, it looked like yesterday, and I was a proponent of this, I was saying it too, right, that it looked like we were having a breakout. And now all of a sudden, right, we broke down, right? We had this big support at 470. We took that out. And so now we've got to see what happens here. So the way to know if this is a one-off event is if we remount back inside this range here in the next coming days, then, you know, it was a fugazi. It was a one-off thing due to Nvidia and it get whispered on and maybe the sell program. But we've got work to do before we get through that, right? It's probably not going to do it in one shot now. So we'll have to be careful. The ATR on the QQQs is $8 too. We were down $14 today. 2x ATR. That's a big deal right there. So that's what I'll be watching tomorrow. If we get a relief bounce, how do we act around these two levels? I want to see it right here, and then I want to see the original breakdown spot here that kind of started the flush, right? So we've got this little intraday bear flag that really sped things up, and then we have the big one. So first test will be in here. If that gets rejected, then, you know, probably back down we go. If we make it through here, then we've got a chance. But this 468 level is going to be like a rock, right? And so what we need to see is a proper remount with some gusto. We want to start watching the price action in these levels, and then we'll see kind of what's up. That screaming is my baby, Colt. He's magnificent if you guys want to. Let me see if I can get him here. Well, let me see if I can get him. I got him on the floor right now. He is a cutie. Batu. He's in this, he's 90 days, so he's in a little bit. He was doing cuckoos and ahs and it was really cute, and now he's doing this more kind of a little bit more screaming. But there's screams of joy, all right? So it's very nice. He's a very cutie pie. So we've got this kind of going down. Let's see how we react tomorrow, and we'll know if it's a one-off thing or not. And one other thing to remember, September is the time where the boogeyman always comes out. September, October, it seems like there's like every fall since I've been a trader that something wild happens, in September right after Labor Day. And so this is kind of par for the course. And I should have maybe put 2 and 2 together, but that close on Friday, it got me having big city dreams, man. I had big city dreams. I was thinking breakout. I had a watch list like 30 names. I was ready to do some swings, day trades, all of it, add into the long terms. And we gapped down, and as soon as we didn't go red to green and we orbed right here, that's when that you got to flip the bias. When you orb to the downside and you take out the previous day's low, that's your kind of quintessential tell sign. So now what do we do tomorrow, right? So we'll see what's up, right? Nvidia will be in play. It had, if you look at the post market, it didn't drop much, so, the whisper was already out. So what we need to do is see, I think there's going to be a couple psychological levels here. Number one is this 100 spot will be big, right? That was kind of where the breakout started too. And there was a lot of confluence over here. So if we get there, I think we may have a chance to do a little bit of a bounce. If not, then we need to come back in and see if we're going to retest that early August low of 92, which is still quite a bit of ways away, right? But it can get there in a hurry. And if you're starting to really think, about it, a lot of these things are starting to look a little head and shoulders-y, like this MU's, right? Look at when you see this, MU's about to take out, right? It's low from August. And this is a head and shoulders, and it's been confirmed, right? Right shoulder and all of this kind of stuff. So big sell program on all of these. 30 million shares in volume, just not even a single uptick. We're going to trade these tomorrow. Let's see what's up, because it looks like this is a bear flag now, and we can shred this thing, right? Dell had a fake breakout too, and so let's see if this breaks back under the 200-day moving average. Then just like MU, right, you're going to have all this kind of room to fall. If we look, Qualcomm had a big breakout setup and then broke under the 200-day moving average. Very key, right? So any of these ones that are breaking under 200-day moving average, these lows are intact, or they're coming, possibly in, coming into play. And so we want to, add these in and see. Look, if they remount back into the range, today was just a fugazi, right? No big deal. Hey, there was news, the algos turn on, these things happen, we overshoot. If we get the follow through, like say we ORB to the downside, right? So we pop down at the open, we make a little range and we follow through, then, these old lows are coming into play and we need to hop on them. I think you've got a level here on ARM too, same type of deal. If we remount back to the top of this range, then it's just a fugazi, right? But we have a spot here where if we crush below, then, dude, we've got all this downside. 122 sends it right down into 113, 115, so we got a spot. Now, look, if we just fugazi and take this back out, then, all right, hey, it was a one-shot deal, and maybe we're coming back into this. But if you look here, the longer-term charts kind of showing this kind of, right, a little bit of head and shoulders-y kind of action, right? That big mamma jamma is over for now, right? And we're entering into a new realm of things. So just something to kind of be mindful of. Look, if you do your liquid gainer scan, you just kind of look at the top gainers of the day. Look at like what was leading the way, right? Like TAP, this had a PR out. Where like, you got McKesson, like food company, right? It's just like a Kohl's, right? This is not, you don't want to see these kind of names like, Southwest Airlines leading the way. Verizon, like Verizon's breaking out. The hottest chart in the world is Verizon. It did move 2%, which is not bad. And look, the one thing is if Verizon moves 2%, the options are going to go nuts on this thing because it doesn't move very much. So look at this, like 800, 200%, 300%. So I keep an eye on this at 43. If it can get through, you'd have to do the calls. You'd have to do the calls because it's going to be pretty low ATR. But I think it's worth, a gander to do something like this. We need to add a couple of these type of names to just, get things going. But if you really think about things like, there's a whole subset of stocks here that I think we can still play, that we want to be watching. So I got also this BBIO, right? Tons of heat the last couple days. You've got a big range break here at 30. I'd watch this level right here. If it takes it out, man, I think we're in for a nice hootenanny. ASTS. Look at this. It's beautiful, right? I mean, this thing is like hanging right at the 20, 1 test, 2 test, 3 test. You got this flag that's developing here. Like you're just ready to come out of this. Now, look, if the IWM gets smoked out, then I think we've got to kind of, stay away from some of this stuff. But like I got a good spot to it also, right? I want to be a gap down and a retest here. Like if we retest this trend line here on a firm, dude, I'm a buyer, right? I'm a buyer somewhere in here. Would love to see this thing pull back into this spot. It was down 5% today. It's the norm. The whole tech market was down, right? And this moves in excess. But that one looks really good. I'm a buyer, right? UPST was getting smoked out here like no other, but we're starting to pull back into some spots, right? If we can come back into here, then I think we're going to be able to get a little bit of a bouncy McGee. Let's see what's going on, right? Beyond that, I think you want to keep it cool, right? What I mean by keep it cool is we've got these semis, we've got these big techs that we can short if we need to. Microsoft itself is breaking down under the 200-day moving average too. So if it holds down here, we can do it. And guys, do not discount the fact that this could have been a fugazi today, right? A little fugazi. You never really know. I would say it was not an orderly pullback, and, we'll have to kind of, we got to keep that in mind. But we've seen this kind of thing before too, right? So just watch these levels. If you remount here, then through here, I think we're a go. Dude, AMD looks like crap, right? Look at this. It's rejecting. I mean, you got this right back into the cards. Tesla, big failed breakout, but it held up decent compared to the rest of them. But if you really look at the chart, it's in no man's land, right? Netflix, fake breakout today, right? Looked like it was going to break for like 2 candles, 1 candle, and then whoop, it goes in. And that's when you got the market is starting to change, because like if it gets rugged at the first minute, then there's something going on. So guys, be careful tomorrow. The open is going to be tricky. We've got these semiconductors that we can do, and then we'll see like what's going on the rest of this stuff. We can just flip these back over. If this was a one-time thing, then, we'll have to watch Nvidia like a hawk, right? If it gets smoked out on this news, then obviously it's taking everything down. But if it just kind of shrugs it off tomorrow and says, all right, it's priced in, then guess what? We go back the other way and we play in the rodeo. I love you guys. Peace.